Hey folks, Mr. C here to give you a brief overview of the Ubuntu desktop. So this probably looks a little bit different than your Windows computer or your Mac computer. It's kind of a mix between the two, the design is, and it's pretty much completely customizable. So you could make it look like either one or anything else you want. But for now I'm going to show you a few things just so you can get around in the beginning. The first time you log on, you're going to see something like this that shows you some keyboard shortcuts. You can take a look at this if you're a hardcore computer user and you're interested in seeing how to do things the fastest way. You can get this back again by just holding the Windows key, also called the super key. So if you see here, wherever it mentions super, that's this key down here that I'm holding. It's the Windows key between Control and Alt, and we're going to be using that a lot to pop things up in Ubuntu. And most of these things actually work on other operating systems, Windows as well. Okay, so the first thing you'll probably want to do is to open some programs, and you're going to be wondering, what the heck, where are all my programs? The easiest way to do that is to tap that super key, or to tap this button right here to search your computer. So if I tap the super key, it opens up this thing, and I just type in whatever it is I want. Blender, GIMP, Krita, all the programs you want. This is where you're going to find them. So I'm going to open Krita. Next thing you'll notice here along the left is the dash or the launcher. So by default, you'll probably have the same icons I do, which is a browser. The default is Firefox. Your files, which is the top one here. Browser, word processor, spreadsheet, PowerPoint, clone, the software store, Amazon, some settings, which you are welcome to go into and fiddle around with and change what you can. I'll show you some defaults you might want, and right now this is the screen recorder that I'm running, and there's Krita that I opened. So some of this stuff you might not want, and you might want to be able to customize. To move things around, if you want to, you can grab them, pull them out, and then just push them back in somewhere else. To delete them, for example, there's no reason I want Amazon on here, so I'm going to unlock it from the bar. The programs I have opened down here will disappear as soon as I close them. If you want to add a new one there permanently to make it easier to open, for example, if I want Blender, I can, after I've opened Blender, I can right click, I can launch it, I can lock it to the launcher, and now once I close Blender, it'll still be there, and now it's quicker for me to open in the future. So you can completely customize this if you want. You can also open these quicker way if you just hold the Windows key, the super key, and then just type a number. See, I'm holding the super key down and the numbers are appearing on the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So a quick way to get my files, for example, is super key 1. And now I get my files. They showed up on my other monitor, but there they are. Okay, so when you have Windows open, there's this odd thing that folks who use Macs are going to be more familiar with, and that is your menu is going to show up here at the top as opposed to the top of your application, depending on the application. And when you're in full screen mode, your close, minimize, and maximize buttons are going to show up in the top left. If you're used to Windows, you're trying to find them in the top right of your application instead of the top left of the whole window. To go through your files, you can hit, again, Super 1 or tap that Files icon, and you'll see this should be very familiar to most of you, regardless of whether you're using Windows or Mac. Normally, your documents, downloads, music, videos, templates, pictures, you have control in here and you can do what you want with it. Okay, a few settings you'll probably want to change that you might find annoying. One of them is that by default, as you cross your mouse across the two monitors, you might notice that it kind of gets stuck at the edge. There's a reason for that, because there are bars and special things happening at the edge and it makes it easier for you to get them, but many people find this annoying. So let's go to the Settings app, and we're going to click on Appearance here, and we're just going to change some quick things. You're welcome to fool around with any of this stuff. I'm going to click Behavior. One thing we can change here is if you want the menus for a window to show up up here, or if you want them to show up like they do in Windows, which is on top of the app, you can click this in the Windows title bar, and then now you'll see help for this little app shows up there, whereas if I had this clicked, it shows up here. Most of you are probably more familiar with this, so you may want to change that. We go back to all the settings. If we go on screen display, down here there's a button for sticky edges, which by default is on, so you can turn that off and then you can check out how your mouse doesn't get caught on the edges anymore. Again, you're welcome to play around with any of this. Finally, to log off, you can go up to the top right. There's a little cog there, a power button, and you can hit the log out button. You can also hit Control-Alt-Delete and choose log out from that menu as well.